Hey everybody, this is Dan Harris, and this is the first in a video series that's going to cover how to improvise with the pentatonic and or blues scales. And it's geared for beginners who know the pentatonic scale, but who don't know how to improvise with it yet. And hopefully through going through this video series, you'll gain a greater understanding and a greater confidence in working with backing tracks, and eventually sitting in with a group of friends or an open jam and playing blues improv on guitar. Now, a backing track, you can find those on YouTube. They're all over the place. You just YouTube blues backing track in, and then you put whatever key you want. Blues backing track in E. Blues backing track in A. Hopefully you know this scale already. This is the E minor pentatonic scale. Sometimes referred to as Form 1, and I'm playing in an open position. Or the E blues scale. Either one of those will do. And then the movable Form 1 pentatonic or blues. If you know either of those scales, then you will hopefully benefit from this video series. So what I want to basically do is give you strategies or steps, elements to learning how to improvise with that scale on the guitar. Again, you're going to want to look up a backing track and work closely with that backing track, but let me jump right into it. The first thing that you should be able to do with your scale is play through it in time with the backing track. Now, that's not improvisation, so that's not even one of my steps to improv. It's just, but it is something you need to be able to do. Simply put on a backing track, say like, and just play through the scale in time. Good idea to be able to do it with different note values. For example, I did it with quarter notes. Well, also practice it with half notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or even whole notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Or these are quarter notes again. Then you could put in eighth notes. Right? Okay. Make sure you can do those different note values. If you know triplets, try triplets. If you know if you're fast enough to play 16ths, try 16ths. But just make sure you can keep time. Okay. If you can keep time, then go ahead and move on to the first step of improvisation, which is spontaneously mixing up those rhythms. Now, I just now did a little bit of that in that demonstration. But what you're going to do is you're going to be spontaneously mixing up whole notes, half notes, dotted half note, that gets 3 beats. I should explain. In 4/4 time, a whole note gets 4 counts. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Half note would get 2 counts. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Quarter note, 1 each. 1, 2, 3, 4. Eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so you want to be, even if you don't know the terms for all of that, basically, let me just make it super simple. Long notes and short notes, right? And everything in between. Be able to spontaneously switch while keeping time with the track. So I'm going to turn the track on again. And what you're going to hear me do is long notes and short notes and notes in between. Just forward through the scale, backwards through the scale. When you try it with the backing track, blues backing track in E, bring it up on YouTube, play along with it. When you try it at home, if you find it rather difficult, what you can do is you can just fragment the scale by taking maybe just like 2 strings of the scale, maybe the first string and the second string, and then just take those 2 strings and practice these techniques just on those 2, and that'd be fine as well. Okay, here we go. Rhythmic variation. You're improvising the rhythm. You're improvising whether you're going to play a note long or short. Oh, you know what? Before I hit the backing track, I need to tell you this. Very, very important. Let the good notes ring long. In other words, if there are notes that just sound better than others, use your ear. You cannot learn to improvise effectively if you do not use your ear. It is absolutely necessary. Don't randomly let notes ring longer and shorter. Let your ear be your guide, and if a note sounds good, let it ring long. If notes sound odd or just not optimal, move around till you find one that does, and then let it ring long. So important. Use your ear. Here we go. Here we go. Longer note. Medium. Faster. Faster. Okay, now you just notice I played that last note multiple times. Once you've got your long notes and your short notes cooking, and that was a quick demonstration, you might want to spend a few days on rhythmic variation to get really comfortable spontaneously changing from long notes to short notes and everything in between. Once you're comfortable with that, then go ahead and do what I just now did. Improvise with repetition. So first you're improvising with rhythm. Now you're improvising with repetition. That is repetition of a single note. And again, use your ear. If a note sounds great, then play it a few more times. And you can play it like again combined with the rhythmic variation. So I might go. You see what I mean? Here it is with the backing track. Did some triplets there. Okay? And again, maybe you're just going to want to spend a few days on that, combining rhythmic variation with repetition. Okay. Step 3 for improvisation. If step 1 is rhythmic variation, if step 2 is repetition, spontaneously, both of these, then step 3 would be spontaneous directional change. Spontaneous directional change. So I'm going to be improvising using the first 2 elements. But then, before I get all the way through the scale, I'll change directions. Maybe I'll change directions halfway through, come part way back, and then change directions again. So listen to what that sounds like. And again, let your ear be your guide. Here it goes. Repetition, changing direction, and letting notes ring. Or playing them fast. A lot of changing direction there. Back and forth. Okay, so those are 3 elements. Now you might have seen another element or 2 sneaking in there. I'll unpack more of those later as we go, and you'll see me bring in more and more elements. But for this week, let me just sum up the 3 elements of improvisation that we talked about. Spontaneous rhythmic variation, long notes and short notes. Spontaneous repetition, playing notes more than once. Again, depending on what sounds good to your ear at that particular point in the backing track. Because the chords change in the backing track, and you want a note that's going to sound good with that chord. So use your ear. And then number 3 was spontaneous directional change. Notice I'm using the word spontaneous. That's very important. That means just off the cuff. You decide in that moment. Okay, rhythmic variation, repetition, directional change. Master those 3 elements confidently, and then come back for the next video where we talk about more elements of improvisation. All right, you guys, take care. We'll see you out there.